David Grusch did an interview, and there was a lot of interesting nuggets there. But one that was really interesting I found was that for the first time he talked about UFO advocates being the victim of Havana Syndrome, directed energy style attacks. And I personally think he might be referring to Amy Eskridge a little bit, maybe even himself. So we're going to play this clip. This is new. Then we're going to cover why I think he might be talking about Amy and why he might even be talking about himself. But let's go ahead and watch this. This was new.
Health incidents happened to key government officials helping me. Akin to, I know you had Catherine Herridge on a few months ago, and obviously 60 Minutes did a piece based on her work back in March. And I've even seen that, which is disgusting and sick, seeing, non-kinetic directed energy weapon systems used against officials, and some of the same medical effects that Catherine in 60 Minutes has discussed. Unfortunately, I have close friends of mine that were helping me in my investigation that suffered as well. And all that was reported, mind you, to the FBI and, counterintelligence elements, but there was little to no help. And it's really sad. And I think the UAP disclosure issue dovetails very nicely to the Havana Syndrome AHI. There's not a 100% causal.
That's something me and Tupa have been saying for a long time. A lot of overlap, a lot of the same characters, a lot of the people in Disclosure Line are probably the motherfuckers doing the Havana Syndrome, if I'm being honest.
Relationship, mind you, but it's another subject that the government doesn't want to acknowledge.
Yep.
I have a deep knowledge of that area as well, based on my previous career. And I see the government in a pretzel in a similar way that they are to the UAP issue, where you have intelligence community assessments saying, oh, Havana, psychosomatic, nothing to see here.
Right.
None of this exists. But then 60 Minutes revealed in March, oh, by the way, DHS bought a microwave weapon system off the Russian illicit arms markets. Oh, by the way, there is stuff floating around in that vein, and that's all unclassified, public record, mind you. So I just find it's very interesting with certain subjects that has government culpability involved, that the government is very reticent to even be basically truthful on it.
Right.
So yeah, let's play that first part a little bit again too, because he's saying it's people in the UFO land are getting hit, people he's known personally.
I've seen anomalous health incidents happen to key government officials helping me. Akin to, I know you had Catherine Herridge on.
So again, let's think out loud. Like, could he be talking about? Who have we heard talk about it? I've only really heard Amy Eskridge talk about it. And another reason I'm going to bring it up later too is Burlison's been talking about Amy Eskridge a lot lately too, and he works for Burlison. But first, let's remember this.
On Monday,
from the epic space that Tupa held with Burlison, probably about 8 or 9 months ago now, there was this said, which kind of to me sounded like maybe Grusch had been the victim of a Havana attack. Let's just hear this out. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong.
Grusch flies in. He and I have a meeting with AARO. Waiting for Tulsi's office to approve that. So that's kind of waiting out there, right? We get to the April week. On Monday, Grusch flies in. He and I have a meeting with AARO, a very productive meeting. And I will say, at that meeting, it became abundantly clear that I'd made the right decision, because AARO was not as informed as Grusch is on this entire topic. In fact, they were picking Grusch's brain. When you're in a room and they're literally like turning all attention to him and trying to pull information out of him, it became clear that, the person that really knows what's going on. And he was giving them advice on what to do, where to go, where to look, who to talk to, all of those things. But we left that meeting, and I'm in his employer, so I'm going to be very cautious as to what I'm going to say here. He immediately had some health issues and felt like he needed to fly home to see his doctor. And I'm going to leave it at that. He's kind of alluded to some of these health issues, but they are work-related.
Work-related health issues after meeting with AARO. What could that possibly be, other than maybe a Havana Syndrome style attack? Kirkpatrick smelled so bad he got food poisoning from smelling. I don't know. I think he might be talking about some kind of directed energy weapon. Again, it's me, just kind of inferring, reading between the lines.
Could you just expound?
Something else here. So here's Rep Burlison talking about Amy Eskridge, which again, he's been doing a lot lately. And I'm going to probably do a whole stream because while I was gone, there was all this mainstream media coverage about Amy Eskridge. The story broke while I was on my cruise. I was on a cruise. It was fun. But listen to this. And by the way, remember, Grusch works for Burlison. I don't think this is a fact, but I kind of view a lot of this stuff Burlison is willing to talk about publicly. I'd imagine that he probably maybe ran some of it by Grusch first. And he's spoken about Amy a lot, but here he directly mentions the directed energy weapon stuff.
On your thoughts on Amy Eskridge and others.
Yeah. So I'm not certain about the was clearly distraught. She was telegraphing to friends and family that she was being harassed. So I'm not certain about the was clearly distraught.
I don't know why it cut
she
out,
was
but he says Amy
telegraphing to friends and family that she was being harassed. She engaged the services of a former British intelligence officer who was investigating the harassment or the strange things that were happening to her. They were able to determine that she was the victim of what others call the Havana Syndrome, which we now know is the result of a directed energy type weapon using microwave energy. This is well documented. I think 60 Minutes was one of the first to document what was going on to multiple people in our intelligence community. So I personally know several others who are still dealing with the unfortunate lasting effects of Havana Syndrome. So that's not a
several others. I feel like they should talk about this more, especially in the disclosure land stuff, because me and Chiba have been saying forever that all this stuff's related. And I hear that there's multiple people suffering from it. I've heard some very interesting stories around the beat too.
Controversial or speculative or wild idea.
And I think Burlison is losing weight. We got to get him in the fitness chat. Yeah.
It's certainly been well documented, but I'm not certain if the other scientists experienced Havana Syndrome, but Amy, I think that they had significant evidence that she was a victim of that.
All right, let's watch a video of Amy describing some of it.
I've been typing on this fucking offline computer.
Rest in
right
peace,
here.
Amy Eskridge. This is a video she posted.
Sensitive fucking shit for the past several days. With this window right here to my right, and that door right there to my left, and my hands have been burned to hell and back as I've been typing. Because you can beam me through there and through there. And you can get a 3D image of what I'm typing. Because this computer doesn't have a Wi-Fi card. You can't hack it. But you can maybe get a 3D image of me typing. So we just did that. And did that as an act of pure desperation. And guess what? I feel better immediately. My hands still burn because there's damage. But it's my body relaxed when we barricaded the shit.
Makes you a Faraday cage,
and it
huh?
was relief. Immediately. Because they're hitting me through I'm sitting here typing on this thing. Directed energy weapons are about harming and harassing people, but they're also sometimes surveillance mechanisms where you can't hack the computer because there's no Wi-Fi card, but you can send microwaves in to get a 3D image of me typing on the keyboard, and you can reconstruct what I'm typing by microwaving me, even though you can't hack it because there's no Wi-Fi card. That's the type of shenanigans going on right now.
Shenanigans afoot. Rest in peace, Amy. Stone Ape, $10 super chat. We love you. Best fringe, soon to be regular news channel. Yeah, everything's going mainstream. All the mainstream stuff is covering all the UFO stuff now, and all this kind of, even Amy Eskridge, like we said, is on Fox News and stuff like that. It's pretty wild.
Yes, I
So I know a lot of people like to dismiss Amy Eskridge, to call her crazy, all this stuff, but I really think it's important to know that other people in her sphere also reported these kind of Havana Syndrome style attacks. So here's the interview I did with Mark Sokol, who dated her. This was his first interview he ever did. Another super chat from Courage First. Thank you, Courage First. Super sticker. Hell yeah. We're grifting, baby. Okay. Anyways, sorry. Back to a more serious topic. Havana attacked and Amy Eskridge visited Mark Sokol. So I don't know how much I'm going to play because it's like 7 minutes, but let's see. I just think it's important that other people, and I believe her associate and friend and like business partner Sam Reed also reported these kinds of attacks. So it wasn't just her or in her head, as many people like to attribute, who would like to dismiss her story.
I met her in May of 2020. She then came to New Jersey and stayed with me at the lab for a little bit. That was very interesting. When she came here to New Jersey, we were sitting on the couch and in the other room, and there was, she was always talking about these energy weapons that were attacking her, and
Wait, can you go into that first before you and her in New Jersey? What was she saying before she got to you about, like, so I didn't realize, so the harassment and stuff was already happening when you kind of came into her fold?
Yeah, it was going on. It was part of her life at that point. It was pretty nuts. I wasn't sure what to make of it. I wanted to see it myself, see whether this, is she completely nuts?
Did she tell you like when it started, or like was there a trigger point that really, that's when it's like, all right, you're on some list now, like this happened because I did or said this, or a year even when it really started?
It started when she started talking about anti-gravity, I believe. Yeah.
As soon as she did that and his presentations on YouTube, she started, what was she describing was happening to her before she met you, and you also experienced it? What was she saying was happening before?
There was these energy attacks, Havana Syndrome. It was happening with her and her husband. I think his name was Michael. And basically splitting headaches, feeling like your skin's on fire, that follows with nausea and vomiting. There was muscle spasms, and I saw all that firsthand, like that, and it was also accompanied with email attacks. There was hacking attempts, and she was always talking about her secret space program handlers. She thought that some of her boyfriends were actually agents for the secret space program, and they were there to handle her, to report back to their superiors or something like that.
What did you think of those claims at the time, and what do you think of them now with hindsight?
I can't say for certain whether they're true or not, but I did see some strange shit.
Yeah, so let's get into that then. When she visited you, and I think this is what you talked about with Tupac on the stream, where a whole van and stuff like that. Go into as much detail as you can about that event and what happened there.
Yeah, so when she was here, we were sitting on the couch, and we had just made popcorn. We were going to watch a movie, and the popcorn in the bowl started to pop again. And, it already cooled off, so it started to pop again. And
Whoa!
She started to like.
And you witnessed that yourself?
It was in my
too?
It was in my hand.
Wow!
And she started to like scream and vomit. And she's telling me they're attacking us. They're attacking us. I opened up the door where the energy weapon would have been emanating from, because it was just in line with the couch. And sure enough, parked across the street in where there was a parking lot. But the parking lot is for a restaurant. The restaurant was closed because of the pandemic. The car was parked not in a parking spot, but like facing the door. And the front windshield was tinted, which is illegal.
See, so here's a separate person, totally separate of Amy, saying there was a physical van. There was a shady-looking van. This happened. He felt it. So I just think that's kind of worth noting. It is interesting here. This comment from YouTube deletes me for speaking. So this interview I did with him, because it was the first interview that anyone ever did with him. Shout out Mark. A lot of people were like saying he's an Israeli spy and stuff. People are allowed to have their perspectives.
The front windshield of the car was tinted. And I thought that was very suspicious. I ran back inside. We went into the Faraday cage, and she was like trembling. We were like really scared about that. Simultaneously, they hacked my Amazon account and put a gun in the checkout, like a BB gun, Glock, whatever. I have a screenshot of that. So
If you could send me that and the van, I believe
it
you said you
wasn't-
took a photo of the
it
van
wasn't
too,
the
right?
van, it was sedan. It was a sedan.
The
Yeah.
van.
Uh,
And you got a photo of that too? If you could send me those, that'd be great.
There was another one that was parked up the street. I didn't get the one that was across the street directly. Left before I could get a picture. And also, I'm kind of in shock. I wasn't really expecting to go outside and see anything. I thought it was, I'm trying to be rational over here. I didn't really think. I didn't really.
So yeah, really interesting. And again, her other business partner Sam Reed reports similar things. So it's not just her in her head. These were multiple people reporting very physical things beyond just kind of something going on in their head. And Stoned Ape, our lovely mod, says, like the stream, friends. Yeah, make sure you're liking the stream. Oh no, I'm just gonna play that Grusch clip again because I don't know. Do you guys think Grusch might be referencing Amy Eskridge here? I mean, Burlison's talking about her. Grusch is talking about her.
Oh, I've seen anomalous health incidents happen to key government officials helping me. Akin to, I know you had Catherine Herridge on a few months ago, and obviously 60 Minutes did a piece based on her work back in March. And I've even seen that, which is disgusting and sick, seeing non-kinetic directed energy weapon systems used against officials, and some of the same medical effects that Catherine in 60 Minutes has discussed. Unfortunately, I have close friends of mine that were helping me in my investigation that suffered as well, and all that was reported, mind you, to the FBI. And
I'm curious if you guys have any guesses on who else he might be referencing here. Courage First says, I love his wall. Crypto Chemist says, Red Panda, we need to do an episode together. Hit me up on X.
Counterintelligence elements, but there was little to no help, and it's really sad. And I think the UAP disclosure issue dovetails very nicely to the Havana Syndrome AHI. There's not a 100% causal relationship, mind you, but it's another subject.
So yeah, I don't know. I just think it's worth noting. I've never heard Grusch talk about Havana Syndrome before. I still find Grusch fairly credible. We're always capable of being psyoped. Maybe he's just better at it than Lou, but I hope not, and I don't think so. Okay, let's continue moving on here.
Yeah, I think as the administration starts.
Okay, so next story.